Hello and welcome to this episode. In this video, I am going to explain to you the factors that are contributing to the success of deep learning in our era. I believe you've already seen some economic values of deep learning in our time, and you actually interact with some of the products that have been built based on deep learning almost 24 hours in a day. It's on your phone, in your car, in your microwaves, in your dishwashers, in your washing machines. Deep learning is controlling the advertisements you see online. It is controlling the movies that are recommended to you on YouTube, on Netflix. It is controlling the songs that are recommended to you. It is being used for medical diagnosis in various hospitals. So, deep learning is already making some economic impact, but the techniques are not as new as you might think they are. So the question is, if the techniques are old, why is it that they are now making waves? Why is it that deep learning is in the limelight now? Why wasn't it in the limelight when it started? These are the questions we are going to try to answer, and we are going to try to look at the recent factors that are contributing to the current state of the practice of deep learning. So, the first contributing factor is data, accessibility or availability of data. Here's the thing, every idea to be successful has to be timely. For example, there was no way the internet was going to exist and have the economic impact it has now if there wasn't electricity. There is no way. It is the same thing when it comes to deep learning and data. The correlation between deep learning and data is that data is a raw material for deep learning. It is not so much about the algorithms, but the dependency is so much more on the quality of data that you use for training. So now we have much more data, and these data are being generated based on our interactions with computers through our mobile phones, in our browsers, in our cars, in our dishwashers, in all these electronic gadgets that we have in our homes. We are generating data every day, all the time. And this has made it possible for practitioners of deep learning to have easy access to data that is useful for training accurate deep learning models. The second is computational resources. As you can imagine, to process these huge data sets that we are generating in our era, we need powerful computational resources in terms of RAM and GPUs. Now people buy GPUs, especially gamers, have high-end GPUs in their gaming machines to render awesome graphics in games. And this is happening in accordance with Moore's law, which indirectly states that the resources, the computational resources, doubles as their prices comes down. So now it is easy. We have RAMs are cheap to buy, GPUs are relatively cheap to buy, and so we have the resources we need to be able to crunch on these huge data sets that are required for training very good deep learning models. The third reason is better algorithms. And to explain this, I am going to use this graph here, which I learned from Professor Andrew Ng of Stanford. And in this graph, Andrew explains the correlation between the performance of a model versus the size of the data that was used to train the model. And a comparison is done between traditional machine learning and deep learning models. And as you can see from the graph here, it is clear that machine learning, traditional machine learning models make good use of your data set up until a point where they plateau. So almost at this point, the traditional machine learning model plateaus in terms of performance, and it's almost as if it has no idea what to do with huge data sets. But when it comes to deep learning, it is very clear that the more data you throw at your deep learning model, the better in terms of performance it becomes. So we have better algorithms because initially there were certain things we will talk about called activation functions, and the most common ones during those days were in a way preventing training of neural networks to be fast. But now there are better activation functions that makes it easier and faster for training to happen. So these are the reasons why deep learning is generating a lot of economic values now, even though the concepts are very old. So thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.